George Methodist Church, our story. The founders of George Methodist Church went on holiday and almost died in a car accident. This led them to believe that God was leading them to start a church in George. They placed an ad into the local paper and started meeting in their house. They quickly grew beyond what a house could contain. They then started raising money through many bazaars, selling things out of a caravan in their backyard, all to buy a plot of land and bricks for the church.
At this point, the first minister arrived, Reverend Morris. He came out of retirement to help build the church, as well as a section of the children's church and men's. After 4 years, Reverend Morris retired and Reverend Russell took over from him. Reverend Russell had a heart for young people and children.
The Sunday school flourished and an attempt was made with other churches to integrate Sunday schools, and they came together with joyful hearts and marched down York Street.
After this, Reverend James and his wife Cecilia came. The church was flourishing and the need arose for a bigger meeting place. So the vision to build the big sanctuary was born.
Back to the fundraising they went, and the WA ladies played a big part to raise the money for the building. But at one point, the funding was not sufficient and a decision was made in leadership to tithe the money.
After they tithed and started digging the foundation, the floodgates opened and people started bringing bricks and paint and more. And the sanctuary was built.
James also initiated the start of the Ministers' Fraternal. Ministers from all around George gathered together to pray.
God was so faithful, and the sanctuary was completed on the 20th of March 1996. However, the next moment a wind came up and blew the whole roof off. Gone.
By the grace of God, no one was hurt, and the church kept on growing from strength to strength.
After this, there was an initiative to run cell groups, and the team brought back the cell group church movement from Singapore.
After 13 years, Reverend James retired and Reverend Billy and Ansi took over in 2003. And because of what God was doing over the years, we got into the position to help support other churches. At the same time, the adults were so stirred that mission trips were sent out to Ciskei and Mozambique.
The youth at the time was making too much noise in the tea room and was bursting at the seams. So the vision was born to build the youth house. This vision was completed in 2007.
Then Reverend Clive and later Reverend John led the church. Reverend Clive's wife Corinne founded a women's ministry to encourage women in ministry. We also hosted for the first time the annual church synod. That was a great undertaking. After this, Reverend Clive was called to Port Elizabeth and Reverend John retired.
At this point, Reverend Peter and Debbie came. They broke down walls, they put in doors, they gave our place of worship a new look and a beautiful new garden, and they are now shepherding us into this new season.
Through seasons of great joy and celebration.
Through trials and tribulation.
Through growth and great excitement,
God has carried us, but now we still stand strong.
40 years later too.
Disciple, love, and serve.